Please confirm that the screen is visible. My screen is reading index numbers. My screen is reading index numbers. Are we there? Okay, perfect. So we shall look at the meaning of index numbers, types of index numbers, classification of index numbers, other areas of focus, and any other discussion that may come along the way. Shall bring it in. So we begin with the meaning of index numbers. And as you can see here on our slide, an index number is a measure of relative change in a variable or group of variables in regard to several things, including your geographical location, time, and things like the income that you have. Right now, if you look at yourself, you're looking, I know, better than 5 years ago, maybe now that you have money. So the level of income may also determine the change in the variable, okay? Geographical location, if you left Uganda today, like so many people are leaving the country, seeking for employment, opportunities, greener pastures in other countries, definitely there is change in geographical location. Maybe if you decide to leave Uganda, you go to Canada, get employment in Canada. If you decide to go to the USA, go to the UK, Japan, the level of living, cost of living, retail price indices may not be the same. You may find that here, for instance, you may find that if you're to rent a 2-bedroom house in Uganda, I think if it is in a good location, you might pay something like 2 million per month. And if this is Uganda, but you may find that the same in the USA or Canada, the same facility, same house. You find that in Ugandan shillings, it may go for 5 million. That's why they say those countries, the cost of living is very high. Yes, the opportunities are there. You could be earning millions, but also spending, spending in millions. But here you may be earning peanuts in Uganda, small money, but the cost of living is favorable. You can get facilities at a price relative to what you're earning. So index numbers help in communicating to us, especially those who want to migrate. They help in communicating the cost of living. They help in communicating the consumer price indices and so on. So before you just leave for living, I know Uganda is very hard. You don't just leave for purposes of living. You have to also look at the cost of living, where you're going. Is it within your means? So that's what we are talking about here today. So we find that we have 3 major types of index numbers, which are key. One, as I've been talking about, price, the price of commodities. So you need to know how much the fuel, how much is accommodation, how much is a meal, and so on. So the price index numbers help in measuring the relative change in the prices of commodities that we consume on a day-to-day. And then quantity is how many you're going to get, okay? Yeah, you may find that previously you would get a kilo of sugar at a certain amount or a bar of soap at a certain amount, but right now things are so expensive that what you used to spent on a kilo of sugar, okay, can just buy you a quarter of the same. So that now brings in quantity, because previously it would give us a kilo, but now you can only get a half or something like that. So quantity index numbers are going to help us in communicating the relative change in the quantities. And then finally, we have the value. Value is the output, which is the P minus the Q, price times the quantity. And this measures the value of the goods produced and sold. The value of goods produced and sold. So value depends on the price and quantity. So these are our three major types of index numbers. Next, our discussion goes into the classification of index numbers. And here we're saying we have different classes, mainly two. The third one we shall see, but here I'll start with the two: the unweighted index numbers and the weighted indices, or weighted index numbers. Unweighted, these are index numbers that depend on your preference. Okay, if I give you three goods and I want you to rank, let me say this is water, this is food, and this is a car. Okay, A, B, C. In basket A, there is water. In basket B, there is food. In basket C, there is a car. Which basket would you pick first? Talk to me. Which basket would you pick first? Which one do you rank number one? Not in terms of wanting to, which product? Talk to me in the chat. Which basket would you pick first? Someone is saying you would pick food as number one. So food, you'd say this is your first one. Then these other villagers want to pick C. You see, this is where you see a problem, someone picking the C, because there's a car there. So you without food, I don't think, anyway, it really depends. But ideally, you would see that some people would attach, would say, okay, I need water much more. So I give it, let's say 80%. Then I need food. Maybe I give it 15%, something like that. And then maybe the car comes last with 5%, because you can live without a car, but you cannot live without food, you cannot live without water. So this is the weighting. And when we are calculating the index numbers, we incorporate the weights. But the unweighted index numbers do not consider that, okay? So the unweighted index numbers are those that do not consider the relative importance of the commodity, whether it is a car, whether it is water, whether it is food, whether it is electricity, they will give it the same. All goods are going to be given the same weight. Whereas for the weighted index numbers, these ones consider, these are the index numbers that consider the relative importance of the commodities for which they are being computed. Okay, in the types of unweighted index numbers, there are basically three. We have what we call the simple index number. We have the simple aggregate index number, and then the simple average index number. So we have those three, and I request you to take off time and look at the formulas of those three classes. Then underweighted, we have several of those. We have weighted average price index, Laspeyres price, purchase price, and Marshall price index, Fisher's ideal, Dobbish-Bowell's index, and the difference is in the formula. The difference is in the formula. So these are price indices. These are price. They are all price. See, price everywhere. But they also have quantity. So it means that I can also have like spares quantity index, purchase quantity index, and Marshall's quantity index. So you have to be careful on this word here if you don't look critically, because they're not the same. If we sell a spares price and a spares quantity, they are different. Purchase price and purchase quantity, they are different. They are not the same. So you have to be careful on the formula, friends, as you're working out this in the exam. Okay, so other areas that you're going to read through, which I will share on your student account, are the features of a well-constructed index number, the importance of index numbers, limitations of index numbers, considerations in construction of index numbers, and so on. So those ones you pick up from the student account. Okay, so let us support our foregoing discussion with an exam type question. I'm picking one from December 2010. The prices of matoke and rice during January 2006 and 2008 were as follows. 2006 and 2008. Matoke, rice, beans, we are given the quantity, we are given the price for each quantity price. So we are given 2 years. This is what is expected under index numbers, because you need what we call a base year. You need what we call a base year, because index numbers are to do with comparison, movement from one year to the other. So ideally, for purposes of this question, I would say we are in the current year. Our current year, let's take it as 208. Okay, just for purposes of our computation. And then the base year being 206. Okay, so we are saying, or the question is going, you don't need to write this. I'll still have the question. We shall have it in the workings. The slide is yours. You can always download from the student account just below this very recorded video, the video for this lecture. You just scroll a bit down for those of you who may not know how to do it. And you download the slide. It will be there. Download it. You look at the question, but you're not going to write the question in our books because I already have the same table on the solution. So it will be double work if I let you write this. But the required is now key. So what are we going to do? We are going to take 206 as our base year, and we shall use it to calculate the price. You see what I was saying? Price index, not quantity, but price index. Price index for last pay and per share. And then we shall do purchase index quantity, okay? Instead of price, we shall do quantity in the second part of the question. And then the limitations, these ones, you can always read the notes. The limitations are given in the notes. So we're going to focus on Roman 1 and Roman 2 of December 2010, question 4, part C. So I'm going to take you straight to our computation. I'll take you straight to our calculation here. I'll share the screen with part of the working, which you're going to complete. So the first thing that you need are the formulas. Are the formulas given in the exam? Yes. That is how generous the examiner will be. They will give you the formulas. And on the screen, you can see we have the last pairs price index. Remember, we are still talking about price, and then purchase price index. Okay, so what is PNQ naught? What are these? So you're going to say where, now we start writing in our books, where PN is the price for the current year P naught is the price for the base year. Then QN is the quantity for the current year And then Q naught is the quantity for the base year. So let's put this one in our books. Notify me when you're done. We continue to the activity. We are going to work it together. I'll select one of you, then we work it out together. So some 2 minutes, we do this. All right, I think we can continue. Are we done with the formulas? Are we done with the formulas? Notify me in the chat. Are we done with the formulas? Hello, 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 hello. Are we done with the formulas? Are we done with the formulas? Are we done with the formulas? Okay, so let's go to the table. We shall have our 2 years, 208, 206. Matoke, rice, beans. I will start with 206. Q naught and P naught are there. So I need from you summation P naught Q naught. This one here. I need from you summation P naught Q naught. You just have to multiply the two together. Just multiply the two. Summation P naught Q naught. Just give me that one first. All right, I can say 68, which is correct. 68, that's correct. Let us go to 208. That is my QN and PN. So I need from you summation PN QN. Summation PN QN. I need that from you. Okay, this one we have 7.8. 7.8. Then give me PN Q naught. Summation PN Q naught. What do we have? PN Q naught. What do we have? All right, we have 9 million. Someone is saying 9,000. You're not being serious, Majib. 9,000, really? Seriously? Can you say 9,000? Is that 9,000? So this is the PNQ note, that's 9 million. Okay. 9 million. So we have everything ready. We have everything ready. So let us transfer this to the formulas. So we begin with Las Payas price index. PNQ note from the table, that's 9 million. P note Q note, that's 6.8, which gives us about how much? How much do we have there? That gives us 132, 132.35. Good. So we give our analysis. Our analysis shall be, there is a relative, the relative commodity prices as measured by Las Vegas index, increase in the current year, 2008, by 32.35% as compared to the base year, 206. As compared to the base year, 206. So that analysis has to be given all the time. As per the examiner, the index numbers should not be left in isolation. They must be accompanied by the analysis and interpretation. So where do I get the 32.35? I subtract from 100. Subtract from 100%. So you see that the index number, the base is always 100. So anything above is an excess, is an increase. Anything below is a decrease. That's how we measure the index numbers. So let us write this quickly. If you have any question, let me know. Next, we move to purchase price. PNQN is 9.3. P0QN is 7.8. So how much do we get? Okay, here we have 11. I mean 119.2, correct? So again, we see there's an increase. If you compare this with 100, there's an increase of 19.2, which is over and above 100% here. So we shall say that the relative commodity prices as measured by purchase index increased in the current year, 2008, by 19.2% as compared to the base year, 2006. Let us write this in our books. That analysis is key. Now, we need to get the difference between last pair and per share price. Now, as you can see, for the case of per share's price, we use the current year quantities uses current year quantities as the weights. So the weights signal the relative importance of each of these commodities. And for the case of per share, he uses current year quantities as the weights. Then for per share, if you look at per share's formula critically, this one here, last pair uses base year quantities as the weights. Uses base year quantities as the weights. Uses base year quantities as the weights. So in case you're asked to give the difference between last pair's index and per share's index, that is the difference. The difference is that last pair uses base year quantities as the weights, whereas per share uses current year quantities as the weights. Is that clear, members? Have you taken note of that? Last pair uses base year quantities as the weights, whereas per share uses current year quantities as the weights. Perfect. So now let us do the last part, which is the per share's quantity, because what we have been looking at are prices, but now we want to look at the quantity, and this is the formula. Now per share quantity uses current year prices as the weights. Uses current year quantities, current year prices as the weights. So QN PN over Q naught PN. So let us do this. Give me the percentage in the chart. Share with me in the chart what you have. What do we have? 103. Yes. 103.33. And what is our analysis? The relative quantities of commodities as measured by purchase index. Now here I talk about quantities, not prices. Be careful in the analysis. I talk about quantities, not prices. The relative quantities of commodities as measured by per share index increased in the current year, 208 by 3.33 as compared to the base year. Okay, so I think that's it for today.